What has life been like since the retreat? Let me rephrase that. In the context of your relationship with each other, yeah. Don't tell me like, well, I gained 7 pounds. I had a really good taco one day.
And we are going to be checking in later on the intimacy experiences. So this is just more of
how we doing.
Yeah.
This isn't about how you did with the intimacy experiences. This is just life in your marriage since we've got them. Ready? 4 minutes. Go.
We went into the marriage retreat in a pretty great spot, and I believe that we also came out in an even better spot. Just from dealing with hurts and hang-ups and all that stuff at the retreat, we've really, I know for myself personally, I've been a lot more open, and I just feel like she's doing an amazing job of loving me. Like, I can feel her love, like, truly, which is awesome. And I think dealing with the stuff that I had to deal with and at the retreat really freed me to just do that. So we're doing my part. We're doing awesome. It's just been fun and engaging and a lot of joy happening. So.
Like we said, I really did not want to do it at all, and I wasn't going to speak or say anything while we were there. And then I don't know what happened, but I did, and I really it was very freeing, and it's so nice to have everything out there and just open, but I felt like everything was going to be fixed right after, and it wasn't at all. It's still a work in progress, and that's the hard part, because everything is out there and I can't shut it off or anything because it's all open. But no, it's really, it feels so good to just I feel so much more intimate. And I thought that we already were before. I was we don't need to go to this. We're fine. Our marriage is so good. But it's so much better already from it.
Yeah, and I think too, me processing feelings, that's been a lot more. I actually know how to do it now, and I'm why am I feeling that way? And I try and dig deeper. So I think personally that's been another big growth step for me, is processing feelings and not being afraid to share them with Jenny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
God, it's been wonderful because I actually see my husband a lot now. What has happened since then has been life-changing for both of us. First of all, I didn't know that Dave has a depth to him that he has. I never missed it. That wasn't what I married. I didn't know that he could talk on a deep level and that he thinks about things besides sport. But we've gone on a couple dates, and the cell phones have been off, and we've actually not stopped talking except to take a bite of food. And and there's just been a lot of skin-to-skin contact, which has been really nice. We're talking about facing, kissing each other, and we sit together on the couch and watch the Mariners together instead of each on our own couch. And just, I don't know, that's for me. If he were here, I don't know what he would say, but I know that he likes what's happening too.
I think anytime you have I really kind of consider a mountaintop experience that we had with the retreat, you find yourself we just basically put it right back, that experience, then put it right back into our lives and fell right back into the old life. And finding the time, finding the energy to do the things that we were going to do, it fell by the wayside. Although there were some moments, we decided to kind of test the putting the 2 chairs in the middle after we had a bit of a intense fellowship. And I got to give credit to my wife on that. She's like, we're doing this. We're putting the chairs right here. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're not doing that. I'm sitting here and I'm mad. So she kind of drove that boat. And
called out both chairs.
Yeah.
Stuck them in the middle of the living room.
Yep. And I said, I'll get there in a little bit. So anyway, it wasn't done perfectly, but it actually, we found it. We worked through it.
Steps with our children. And that was a huge debate with the 2 of us. Well, they were there at dinner when it all went south so fast. And that was a big argument as to whether the kids should be a part of it or not. And they weren't, so they sat and watched. They both fell sound asleep.
Fell asleep on the couch.
It's that whole thing of we were all in this amazing bubble, this amazing space for 4 days. And literally, you came out of it Monday morning, the world hit you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we were all exhausted and worn out in a great way.
One of the things that has come out for us, similar to you guys, is that every night we spend time talking at bedtime and praying together. And I think I've slept better than I've slept in ages. And I really think it's because my mind is, we've talked and our mind's on God, and just the being close and touching and feeling and stuff like that. It was, it's just been really good.
I have learned to relax more in our spooning or the intimacy part of it, where I'm not that much of a touchy-feely person. And so I'm learning to relax in that, and the praying every night's been really nice, and really getting out there some of the stuff that we have on our hearts, and it's made a difference even in our next day and how our day goes. So that's been really good for you.
Since there's been peaks and valleys, but the valleys haven't been as low as they may have been before. So I'm better at communicating a little bit more like what I'm feeling. So that is getting better. And like the other day, 2 days ago, you asked me something, and I started with, good, and she kind of chuckled and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I gotta go in a little more depth than that. So catching myself with that, that's getting better. We've had a couple of dates, but we haven't been adventurous yet, like, going outside of the norm for things. So like the other night, hey, let's go somewhere different. Nope, we ended up at Los Pepes.
Yeah.
And Walmart, I heard.
Yes,
We know
yeah.
Walmart, but I'll-
Yeah, I guess we were a little adventurous, right? We went to Walmart. And
Depends on what's
but so it's gotten better.
I think it's given us a good way to talk to each other, in that JD knows that he needs to go a little deeper, and I can say, not to criticize, but remember we were trying, and so it gives us a good platform to jump off of. And not only that, but I've seen changes in my husband's walk with Christ, and just he prays every night with me, and he takes charge of that, and he I think his walk with Christ is just deepening through this process, and that in turn is helping our relationship and our marriage.
I'll definitely let you lead.
And honestly, I think us ending with a big fight left us in a very vulnerable place. Because you instantly go, oh my gosh, all those people watched a fight. They saw something deep and vulnerable in me. And that in itself just makes me go, I'm just scared. I'm scared. And so it was really easy to just get really busy and just be like, hey, when we get on vacation, you'll get my attention. And we got on vacation and things went south there too. What we had planned on spending time and doing together became very difficult with family dynamics, and so then vacation didn't end up being what we really wanted it to be. In the meantime, sometimes he gets to come in close, and sometimes he gets pushed really far out.
Hey, we're gonna respect the 4 minutes too.
Right there's the extra.
She just nailed it. What I think is fascinating, and I just had something that hit me. The last thing we did was we made commitments to each other, and she committed to loving me in sickness as well as health. And I've been sick since this happened. Completely. And I just wonder if what I need is you to treat me well for me to get better. If I'm gonna stay sick until you start doing it.
I will say I've been better about that though.
Better? You've been better. You've certainly been better.
Since we have done the retreat, God just worked a miracle in our marriage for me, and for Dylan too. Just what God had revealed to me during that retreat. So that part has been good. I've definitely had a peace. We're going up instead of down, so that's a positive. And it's interesting too, because our daughter Sophie, who's getting married, she had a bridal shower, and it was write down the perfect date, and then you're supposed to put it in a jar. And I wrote on there, I couldn't think of the perfect date, but I said, just make a calendar and make sure you have dates on the calendar. Doesn't matter what you do, but just get that calendar going. And so I thought that was a really helpful hint.
Yeah, I guess our story's not a whole lot different from a lot of people's. I came home and I remember I wanted like interaction with my wife, but I chased her around the kitchens and other places, and she was just busy and not thinking. And so I went right back to that broken cistern, and she went off to the bedroom and was probably crying. And I remember I walked in there a little bit later, and I just remember we had a conversation that we wouldn't have had before that. This is what I needed from you. I was trying to get attention, and she was, you know, when you act that way, I don't want to give you my attention. Cause and effect, I guess. And so it makes it hard to talk about stuff. It really does. But in the safety of this, it feels like we've had a tool that we can use to say, okay, we're working on this, and the only way it's going to get better is if we're honest. We went out on a date last week for the first time. We found we're really bad at dating. We're really bad, and so we're pathetic. So we never dated. We went out on our first date, and our second date was with the kids, and every date after that had been with the kids. We've never really done anything, just the two of us. So
Close to 20 years of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. It's a lot of work breaking old habits for us.
It was so hard to decide where to go on that date, what to do. We kept looking at each other like, what do we do? So.
But yeah, we have a long way to go. But really like where it's heading and where we're going with it, and still a lot of hope.
All right, so we're gonna move along to the next one. Is the reading of the Shekinah Glory introduction.
Yeah.
It's
There
the
was like
low
3
desire treatment
documents to
overview.
read. Yeah.
And then third is
And
the
agreement.
guidelines for sex therapy and foundational principles for body pleasuring. And then signing the covenant.
So yeah, did you complete the experiences?
Like a hand raise?
Yeah, we did.
The intimate experiences.
Well, let's just go around. Yes?
We got them all.
You got them done? No?
We got a D- because read through a couple things.
Okay. Linda? You got it done?
Guess
That's
what?
week 1.
Nice job.
So I guess we got it done. I thought there was more to it than that, but yeah.
Nope, not these first ones.
We read through everything. There's not anything. I thought you were ready.
Did you sign the covenant? Awesome. Anybody else that finished week 1 that wants to share maybe a little bit? If you didn't finish week 1, it's okay. Again, very different setup this time. But do it. Week 1 obviously is important. It's foundational. It's first. Kind of want to start there. It's gonna help you guide you through. Week 2 is the crock of shoulds and the box card schedule. How are you ordering your time? Like, what are you doing with your priorities? And specifically, are you prioritizing this thing you should be prioritizing? But we do there's a lot of things we think we should do that we really don't need to do. They're not what's best, right? And go back to when Jesus is talking to Mary and Martha and says, one thing, there's one thing that's best, and that's what she chose, right? Martha's cleaning. She should, but she didn't prioritize well.
Told my entire life since I was like in 7th grade that if you want to be great, you got to put the work in. You got to work. So that's just how my mind thinks. And I reshaped that should into how God would say it. I was actually reading 1 Timothy today, and it talks about how physical exercise is good, but it talks about how being in the Lord is even better. And I rephrased it. I said, God wants me to be as healthy as I possibly can. So try and get your workouts in, but don't feel it as a pressure if you don't do it that you messed up or you didn't accomplish the day. So I think that's been big for me to rephrase that, and it goes with eating too. Like, these desserts look amazing. I'm like, God wants me to be as healthy as I can so I can lead his people to the best of my ability. So that's just how I rephrased it, and it's not a pressure for me anymore. It's a joy of serving Jesus.